Friends was the prime example of a fun-loving 90s sitcom, but it wasn't all laughs for the cast, both during the show's production and afterward. Here's what caused difficulties for these comedy superstars. Fans might think Matthew Perry was a lot like his character Chandler Bing. And yes, he could be funny and sarcastic like Chandler, but his life hasn't been all smiles. Many fans forget that Perry experienced addiction and has been public about how difficult sobriety is. According to biography, Perry claimed he didn't remember 3 of the years he worked on the show, from seasons 3 to 6, due to his addiction.
It's very hard to watch that, because that's a guy that's out of control.
Perry told the New York Times an injury was at the heart of his addiction. He was prescribed pain medication, and then he began taking it with alcohol and other substances. He first went into rehab in 1997, and again in 2001. Perry would often try to detox by himself, biography noted, and it impacted the set of Friends. Co-star Matt LeBlanc said he approached Perry about going to rehab, but it was met with indifference. All of his co-stars have said they all tried to get him help while on the show, but it was ultimately up to Perry to choose to get better. He said the choice to go to rehab became clear when he felt he wasn't going to survive the next day.
I'm not going to be on the show and have a life unless I fix this problem.
After the show ended, Perry became an advocate for rehab and even helped establish a sober living facility in Malibu. Sobriety, though, is a constant struggle, and Perry admitted he re-entered rehab in 2011 as part of his continuing recovery. Perry tragically died on October 28, 2023, in an apparent drowning accident. No drugs or alcohol were found at the scene. Out of all the cast members of Friends, Jennifer Aniston is probably the one who became the most famous. She was certainly in the tabloids the most. For someone whose hair had its own magazine covers, it kind of makes sense. Aniston had starred in several movies during the run of Friends. But it wasn't her star turn in Along Came Polly that made everybody in Hollywood talk. It was her marriage to Brad Pitt that got tongues wagging. Aniston and Pitt were the golden couple of Hollywood. The pair began dating in 1998 and made their public debut during the Emmy Awards the following year. The two married in July 2000, with a wedding that redefined the term media circus. Helicopters were hovering around their wedding. Pitt even appeared on an episode of Friends, where he played Ross's friend who hates Rachel, Aniston's character. But the fairy tale didn't last forever. Pitt and Aniston announced their divorce in 2005, reported Vanity Fair. While Aniston remained America's sweetheart, the public began commenting on her decision not to have children over the years. She wrote in HuffPost about her anger at being reduced to a body and decried people's fascination and insistence that women should have children to be complete.
Sometimes women get into marriages, relationships, or however it looks, and they can't have children.
Matt LeBlanc took on numerous roles after Friends, and even headlined several sitcoms. He's even found more international fame by getting several roles on British TV shows, including one where he played a version of himself. But the years after Friends ended found LeBlanc adrift, and his personal life in disarray. According to The Telegraph, his daughter, with wife Melissa McKnight, started suffering seizures shortly after she was born in 2004. It turned out LeBlanc's daughter had a form of dysplasia. To make matters worse, LeBlanc had been caught getting cozy with another woman. McKnight and LeBlanc divorced in 2006, though the two remain friendly. LeBlanc told The Guardian that he now spends his time in his ranch in California to take care of his daughter. He also feels that people expect him to be as funny or crazy as Joey Tribbiani. In reality, LeBlanc said, he's more serious, but fans just have this expectation because of what they see on the show. When she hung up her chef's hat as Monica Geller, Courteney Cox moved on to another hit show, Cougar Town. That show seemed to mirror much of her life. For much of the time she was on Friends, Cox was married to David Arquette. They met in 1996 while filming Scream, but split up in 2010. They finalized their divorce 3 years later, according to People. The former couple had a daughter together and decided to co-parent. On Cougar Town, Cox played a recently divorced woman rejoining the dating scene.
You've been divorced for 5 months and you're not having any fun. Oh, good God.
As sad as her divorce was, Cox went through some hard times while on Friends. Before giving birth to her daughter, she went through a rough time conceiving. In an interview with NBC, she said that the toughest episodes for her were when Rachel was giving birth. During that time, Cox had been undergoing fertility procedures. She suffered a miscarriage around the time they filmed Rachel going into labor, and Cox had to act happy and crack jokes. While the main cast rightfully got a lot of credit for all the show's success, Friends also had many great guest stars. Some of these guests fell victim to tragedy too. The Mirror reported that guest star Stan Kirsch, who played Ethan, a young guy who dated Monica, died by suicide in 2020. He was 51. Alexis Arquette, a sibling of Cox's ex-husband David Arquette, showed up on Friends in 2 episodes. Unfortunately, she died from cardiac arrest in 2016 after battling HIV for several years. Arquette had been a fixture in the Los Angeles nightlife scene, said The Hollywood Reporter, and her death came as a shock to many. Taylor Negron played Monica's boss, Alessandro, and offered her a job as head chef. He was diagnosed with liver cancer in 2008. He succumbed to the disease in 2015 when he was 57. Paul Gleason, who portrayed Phoebe's boss in her former life as a financier, also died from cancer. Gleason, who was also in The Breakfast Club, had lung cancer thought to be connected to visiting his father at construction sites. If you or anyone you know is struggling with addiction issues, help is available. Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSA's National Helpline at 1-800-662-HELP. That's 1-800-662-4357.